Okay, skill 21, non-essential clauses. This is another comma thing, and this is going to be the last comma thing, but it's an important one because it comes up on two, three, maybe four questions per section where you just have to be able to notice, okay, this is a non-essential clause or this is essential or whatever it is. So a non-essential clause is a clause which is not essential to the sentence, as the name implies. We're going to call it an NEC for short. All right. It will add a detail, but it won't be crucial to the sentence's meaning. Okay, as I said in a previous video, it doesn't mean you should get rid of it. You just don't have to have it there. All right, they're always dependent clauses, and they're always separated from the independent clause with commas. Okay, they usually appear in the middle of a sentence with a comma on either side. For example, rock climbing, comma, one of my favorite sports in the whole world, comma, is going to be included in the next Olympics. All right, this can be removed. You can say rock climbing is going to be included in the next Olympics. That's a sentence. It makes sense. You don't have to have this phrase there, but it's nice to have it. So, does the sentence make sense without it? Then it was non-essential, like in this case. There are times when you need to look at something else, right? So let's look at this sentence. Students who work hard will do well in school. Students who work hard will do well in school. Now, if you say students will do well in school, that really means something different than students who work hard will do well in school. So getting rid of this changes the meaning of the sentence, and so you wouldn't call it a non-essential phrase or a non-essential clause. Okay, so those are the two tests. It can't change the meaning of the sentence if you get rid of it, and the sentence has to make sense without it. All right. So just to recap there, even though removing the clause leaves us with a full sentence, the meaning of the sentence has changed. So the clause was actually essential. Okay. Another way to check is also like, does the clause narrow down or specify what I'm talking about, right? If yes, then it's essential. Like here, students who work hard will do well in school. So we're only talking about students who work hard. We're not talking about all students. So it narrows it down, which means it's essential. Okay. So let's just have a look at a little bit of more examples. Although many will appear. Also, one more thing is, although many of them will appear in the middle of sentences, a non-essential clause can also appear at the beginning or the end. So despite what many people think, grammar rules aren't so bad. So here's your independent clause, and this is a non-essential dependent clause, right? The sentence makes sense by just saying grammar rules aren't so bad. Learning grammar rules is important, independent clause, both for the ACT and for college level writing, dependent clause, non-essential. Though independent clauses are often interrupted by non-essential clauses, that's dependent, an independent clause can be sandwiched between two NECs, right? That's an independent clause, like in this sentence. Oops, and that's a dependent clause. So you could see it kind of can work in a bunch of different ways. So let's look at a question. So we have the sentence, Tammany Hall was so powerful and corrupt that the New York Times commented, there is absolutely nothing in the city which is beyond the reach of the insatiable gang. So we're kind of testing, is the New York Times a non-essential clause? If it is, then we're going to keep those commas there. If it's not, then we should get rid of them, right? So if we do the little test, can you get rid of it? And will the sentence make sense? Tammany Hall was so powerful and corrupt that commented, whoa, no, that makes no sense. So it's not a non-essential clause and we're done. Okay. So if just looking at the answers, Tammany Hall was so powerful and corrupt that the New York Times commented, comma, there is absolutely nothing in the city, blah, blah, blah. So C is the right answer because you just don't need those commas there at all, but you do need a comma after commented to introduce or to pause before the quotation comes in there. So in general, when you see a lot of commas being switched around in the answer choices, there's a good chance you're dealing with whether or not something is a non-essential clause, and now you know how to test for it. Again, Does the sentence make sense without it? Is it essential to the sentence? Does it change does the meaning of the sentence change without it? And if the answer to that is yes, then you actually do need it. Okay, we'll give you some practice for that.